This region of Kashmir has been divided between India and Pakistan since those countries' independence in 1947. Both claim the territory in full, but govern separate portions of it. Nitasha Kaul is an Indian-British writer of Kashmiri origin. She's also a professor of politics and international relations at the University of Westminster here in London. She argues that part of the issue is the Indian government continuing to push tourism in its part of Kashmir, despite the dangers of the instability there. She's been giving me her personal reflection on what happened this week.
It just feels, in one sense, really personal. And of course, it's a huge tragedy. So the fact that the other thing that I think is quite striking is the fact that we seem to learn nothing from any previous such incident. And we just keep having cycles of this every few years. So it feels like kind of deja vu. It just feels really, heartbreaking to see this happen.
Much of the coverage, not surprisingly, because they're two nuclear nations, has been of the tit-for-tat responses between India and Pakistan. What about Kashmiris caught in the middle?
So this is the thing that I've always tried to highlight, that every time this happens, and in fact, in the longer history of the region, it's always an India versus Pakistan thing. And the Kashmiris, the people who are on the ground, who are facing the brunt of this conflict, of this situation, of the insecurity, keeps getting forgotten. So in a cynical way, one might think that this will be another cycle of more of the same, with the strikes, with the deployments, with the threats, with the revocations of the visas, and that's already underway. But the longer term thing here is the thing that doesn't get addressed, is what of these people who are caught currently between a tourist push from India, which has been especially exacerbated since 2019. But at the same time, there isn't a provision of security for either the locals or the tourists, the Indian tourists in this case, who were there. So these people are stuck between the competing motivations of Indian and Pakistani perceptions of their interest, which I would also add and argue that aren't necessarily the ones that serve either India or Pakistan best either.
In the end, this is an argument surely about Kashmiri people's rights. And how are they realistically going to be protected in today's India, where authoritarianism and Hindu nationalism are on the ascendant?
I mean, I wish really, Paul, that there was a good answer to this. I'm afraid that there isn't a good way of being able to even articulate those rights. So the thing that we must remember is that this is a place that has been where autonomy and statehood was taken away overnight. It is now run as a union territory. The elections in the region were held after the best part of a decade, and that too when the Indian Supreme Court literally forced the government to actually have these elections. So there's, so when it comes to the fact of their rights, it's really, in the end, it's a very simple thing. This is a political dispute. It's a region of conflict, and the idea that the status quo can just carry on with no actor in the region with a vested interest trying to change it is just not sensible. The thing to do, the sensible thing to do, would be to think more long term, think ahead, think with more rationality and strategy about what is gained by thinking of tourism as a political solution to a problem, because clearly it's not working.
Nitasha Kaul, Indian-British writer of Kashmiri origin and professor of politics and international relations at the University of Westminster. Charles.